Welcome to the February 21st, 2018 Board of Supervisors meeting for West Rockhill Township. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Does anyone have any public comments on the agenda items? Seeing none, we'll move on. Announcements. There will be an executive session following this evening's meeting, and that will be about real estate. The consent agenda tonight will cover the January 17th meeting of the West Rockhill Board of Supervisors, the wind plan review status and authorization vouchers, the emergency services report, the buildings, zoning, and building permit report, public works report, and the November Board of Supervisors meeting. That last item there, in November, the Board of Supervisors meeting is scheduled the night before Thanksgiving, so we're going to move it a week early. So this is just to allow that to be advertised. Yeah. So, do either of you gentlemen have any issues with the items?
I have none. I move for approval.
I second that.
All right. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Confirmed appointments, there are none, so we'll move on. Committee reports. Chris Durstein.
Evening.
Evening.
Okay, Planning Commission met last week. We had one applicant, it was Gavin Construction. They showed us a plan for a two-lot subdivision on 37 acres out Ridge Road in Simmons and Bardsley. They're looking to divide a two-lot subdivision. First lot would be 12 acres with an existing dwelling. Second lot would be 25 plus acres with a proposed new dwelling. The existing dwelling would need new septic and an alternate site as well. They were looking for the standard waivers, road improvements, curb, sidewalk, and whatnot. Due to the condition of Bardsley Road and the stormwater issues there, engineering suggested doing some swale and shoulder work rather than fee in lieu of. They seemed agreeable, but they don't want to spend more than the fee in lieu of. So, discussion's going to continue on that topic, I'm assuming.
Can I ask you, Chris, the entrance, do they want to entrance onto Simmons Road?
They want entrance off of Bardsley, correct?
No.
No.
It is Simmons?
Simmons, yeah, I was gonna say, if it's off of Bardsley, they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Well,
A prior applicant was interested in
Right.
Bardsley Road, but not
Okay.
not this.
yeah.
All right.
So anyway, PC is recommending preliminary final approval, conditioned on whatever happens with the Bardsley Road discussion.
Okay.
And that's all we had. That's all I have.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we accept Chris's report as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Park and Rec, Bob Strobel.
We're flying along here, aren't we?
You are.
Live after. Park and Rec met, and we discussed the phase one of the tot lot expansion. The chips have all been removed. The 25 by 70 addition's been dug out, but not finished. Stone was brought in, which they started to backfill. Maintenance guys found a pipe, a drain pipe, right on the entrance. And they don't know, though, if that's going to suit the drainage issue or not. They dug another trench out back to get some of the moisture, flowing off the back of it. It's a wet area.
Are they gonna connect into that pipe that they found? Just in case it
I
does work?
would hope so.
Okay.
Or,
Well, they're looking in to make sure that it works, that
Right.
the whole drain works, and not gonna connect
No.
into something that's clogged,
I
so
understand.
they're gonna test it.
Okay, and then they are gonna put fabric down
They're gonna put fabric on top of the stone.
Yes, right, okay.
And then the
Chips,
chips.
yeah.
And they still need more stone in there, right? It looked like they
Yes.
need to put a lot more in.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a job that's moving along nicely there.
What would be the depth of the bolts you're putting in?
6 inches, 8 inches? Good
Thought
catch.
it was 12.
12?
I think 12 is necessary for the height of the equipment. It's based on the height of the equipment.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
12 inches, okay.
I thought that's what it said.
They know that, they know the depth that they need. to-
Seth knows what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
He's our the backup expert guy.
Yeah.
What else with phase one there? It's moving along. Next step would be to get more of the, in the back area where they're adding 25 to 70, where they're extending it. There's a lot of clay. And I think that's one of the issues they're gonna.
You're gonna find that, Bob, with the whole park. We only have a couple inches of topsoil over there, the rest is clay. That's why we have such poor drainage. You know, water doesn't go through clay.
Right.
That's what they use actually when they build a pond, so it doesn't leak. So you don't lose water, it's clay. So we have an issue over there to start with.
But they're hoping to finish this project by March?
Correct.
Let's hope they do.
Yeah, we'll have it finished so it looks good for the
Fishing derby.
All right, good, thank you. What else you got?
What's that?
What else you got?
Okay, so being that we are looking at that expansion, we started thinking about a fundraiser. And we're pretty excited about having a 5K fundraiser. Where it would run is up in the air. There's been some ideas, but
Well-
sounds like some of the ideas that came up with are not good because of the Ridge Road and traffic.
And I think you should discuss that with Chief Blake, because that's why we're doing their 5K over in Markey Park,
Yeah.
because there really wasn't anywhere around here to safely do it. So I would work with his guys.
You're still under discovery though.
Yeah, we're still, looking for ideas.
I did mention to you that many years ago, probably 20 years ago, they had one at Grandview Hospital that went up over the ridge and then down and then up, up Walnut Avenue, turned left, and went up Ridge Valley and back again. But that was that meant closing those roads for like 2 hours. So I don't know that that would fly.
A number of years ago, they ran a couple over in Park and Ferguson.
Yeah, 5K, okay.
Any-
You
So-
do have a pretty long stretch from Percy over to Sellersville.
Yeah, well-
That's paved.
A 5K is 3.2 miles, correct?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of finding an area, 3.2 miles, that would suit, runners who would find it interesting to at least,
Bob, could I suggest to you, looking into the trail that starts over in East Rockhill by the Branch Road Iron Bridge and goes all the way, it actually goes all the way to Sellersville.
Right.
I think you can get 3.2 miles there easily,
And-
but you have to look into
And it doesn't have to be
details.
one way, Bob. You can
Make it
go
a
out
loop.
a mile and a half and come back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or a loop, or just a hairpin.
so it's a matter of finding sponsors and getting it going. So we're still early on
Okay.
that. Otherwise, the fishing derby's coming up, and the benches, we
We
have
announce
not.
that date, April 21st,
Yes.
for the fishing derby.
Mhm. We're hoping that's a good date.
Chris?
Fishing derby will be on April 21st.
Yes.
So anybody who
We need
wants to,
support.
support our cause for fish. Otherwise, the benches are still up in discussion.
I will share with you, I stopped 2 times. Both of the days was winter, cold weather. One day it was snowing, and there was nobody there, it was locked up. But they had a sign on that they were gonna reopen that week that I was there, but they weren't, there was nobody there, obviously. And I just think that they don't do business in the wintertime with that kind of stuff. It's, concrete ornamental stuff for outside.
We just happen to have somebody who's already put money up for a bench, so they've been trying to get some answers out of us, When's my bench coming with my plaque? And so here's my money, so where's my bench? So far, it's not moving along. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much what I want to discuss.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept, Bob.
Okay. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, Conservation Committee, Mr. Schremer. This is a first, folks. Conservation Committee report.
Yeah, we usually kind of try to keep it quiet. I'm Michael Schromeyer, and I'm a member of the Conservation Committee. And since it's the first, as Jim mentioned, I'd like to give you a real brief overview of the Conservation Committee and then the highlights from our last meeting. So the Conservation Committee is a group of volunteers, and we help interested landowners conserve their property through the Pennsylvania Open Space Law. So we meet with interested landowners when they contact us, and then we evaluate their property for preservation. From that, we develop a recommendation letter and send it on to the supervisors. If supervisors approve the recommendation, then it goes through negotiations between the township and the landowner, and when they finish with the negotiations, then the Board of Supervisors approves the conservation and announces it in a public meeting, which is when you first hear it. West Rockhill's goal is to conserve 30% of its approximately 10,000 acres. So that's a lot, but we also have a lot of already quote-unquote preserved property with the state game land, so that helps us out. Right now, we're halfway there with about 16% of the township's acreage conserved. And this is the advertising part. If you're interested in conserving your property, you're welcome to contact Greg, the township manager, either by mail or email. It's got to be sort of a written document, so we have some documentation. And then you can begin discussions with the Conservation Committee, where we'll help you with your ideas, tell you what's possible, and help you through the process. And there's always paperwork involved. So there's an open space property application that's on the township website, or you can go into the office to get it. So we're always looking for interested landowners that want to preserve properties. The second part of my discussion here is the last Conservation Committee meeting, which was held on January 18th, 2018. We have the meetings every other month. If you start with January, it's at the third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. Look at it, it's the odd-numbered months. And everyone's welcome. If you want to come in and see how much fun we're having, you're always welcome to join us. In the meeting, we had a couple items we covered. One was the spring newsletter. We already have a written article to appear in the spring newsletter, and it's about the newly acquired catch basin that was part of Sellersville's water supply system. When they no longer needed it, they offered to sell it to the township, so we bought it. We, the township supervisors, purchased it with the open space funds. It's 137 acres and an 8-acre pond that we're adding to the open space that we have now. The second item, we have a preserved properties database that we maintain that lists all the preserved properties and properties that we've considered. And what you see is we use that on the left of the clock on the top right panel is actually a map of our preserved properties. So if you're ever interested, you take a look at that. That same type of map is going to appear in the next spring newsletter. And sometimes we also put in a, I guess it's really just a preserved properties list, which lists them, and our website also has a preserved properties list. So in the meeting, we updated the database with the catch basin that was put on there. The third item we discussed, we have third-party conservation groups. Most of the properties we have under conservation easement have a third party, which could be the Bucks County Conservancy, Heritage Conservancy, or the Natural Lands Trust. And that third party basically guarantees that the other two parties can't undo the open space that they've acquired and that we paid for. So they're kind of our guarantee. They also keep a legal fund to fight any challenges. What we're trying to do now is we have a number of, a few number of properties that the township purchase directly, and it's called a fee simple purchase. We just paid open space money for the property. I'm not sure if I got the right examples, but you can look at the park across the street. I know some of it was donated, but some parts are actually purchased. In this case, a fee simple could always be sold by the township if they decide to resell it, because it doesn't have protection. So we're going to try to work with, through the township and with some of these conservancies to get them on as a third party to help protect what we have for parkland and open space. And that guarantees that in the future, if the supervisors change and they change their minds about the park, they can't go on and sell it. And the last one then is with the purchase of the catch basin, we're buying 2 open space signs. One's going to be on Route 309. It's a huge sign so people can see it as they're blowing by at 60 miles an hour. And then the other one is going to be up on Forest Road and Catch Basin Road. And I think if you've driven around the township, you've seen a number of signs, so it's trying to advertise where we have our open space. These minutes, and we also have a couple of really good booklets, are all available on the West Rockhill Township website. And if you go on the site and on the left, you can go to the Conservation Committee tab, and that'll pull up the minutes and also these brochures. So that's what I have.
Great, thank you very much.
Very nice
Any questions?
presentation, Michael.
It was.
I appreciate that.
Very
The only
nice.
thing I wanted to just add to you, and I appreciate it, because I think that when you listed the conserved properties in the last year's newsletter,
Yes.
I think it listed how they were preserved too, whether it was fee simple, like we mentioned,
Yes.
or direct, straight
Conservation
conservation easement, or donation, you
Yes.
know. And I appreciate that, because people then can see where the money is actually going and who's donating their property for free.
Yes.
So.
And I believe this newsletter, instead of the list, we're going to have the map. We kind of do it, you know, alternately, I guess, so that you have a spatial view of what the properties look like. We try to preserve them either along streams or near other preserved properties, so we get a bigger grouping of properties, so.
And the list on the website, the West Rockhill website, does have the fee simple or purchase or whatever.
Yes, it does.
Okay, Yeah, it does, yeah. I was just looking at it, okay.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it, but there is a list on the website under the
Yeah.
Conservation Committee.
Mike, why don't I mention that those who are interested in conserving, they need to understand that everything is between them and the committee.
Yes.
Of course, Greg wrote, but nobody else knows anything about it until such time property is put up for
Yeah.
purchase at a public meeting.
Yeah,
So,
everything is,
there's security there.
yeah, I think it's the same as the executive session. We have an executive session at the end of our meetings to discuss properties, and that's private. The only time the public hears about it is when the supervisors announce that it's already a done deal. And that's to keep, basically keep it between the landowner and the township, and also to keep realtors from jumping in and trying to buy the property.
Thank you, Michael. Can I get a
Okay?
I'll make a motion, we accept Michael's report.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Comprehensive plan. To the whole.
Okay, we're doing a lot of different things. We just got new updated census estimates, and so we have adopted what we had before to incorporate them. Point of interest, the median age of the residents in this township is now 51.6 years. The median household income is approximately $60,000 to $66,000, which is pretty close to what the average is in all of Bucks County. Breakdowns of specific types of housing units presents, what the township presents by zoning is more in line with the current data that we're seeing, the way things are evolving. Unemployment estimates have been lowered from 7.1 to 6.5% in our protected region. I presume the next time we look at that, it will be even lower from what's going on. And the overall economic and labor statistics remain almost identical to what they were in 2015. So that's pretty much it. We continue fourth Thursday of every night, every Thursday of every month. We start at 7 and typically we go for 2.5 hours. So anybody's welcome. We do have some people have been coming consistently and contributing and providing insights and views and thoughts that I think we have a very good mix of people in the committee because many different diverse experiences. So that helps improve the process. That's it.
Good, thank you. I'll make a motion to accept the report.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Police report, Chief Blake.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Mary, is it okay if I stand here?
I'll miss you.
All right. See you a little bit better. This is the information for Pennridge Regional Police Department for January 2018. The department responded to 512 calls for service. Of those calls, 199 were in East Rockhill and 313 were in West Rockhill. The department handled 39 traffic crashes, 17 in East Rockhill and 22 in West Rockhill. 20 were reportable crashes and 19 were non-reportable crashes. The department responded to 4 Part 1 crimes and 28 Part 2 crimes in January, totaling 32 crimes. In West Rockhill, the crimes are as follows: 1 assault, 1 theft with the dollar range between $50 and $200, 1 possession of heroin, 2 DUI cases, 1 harassment, 2 trespass cases, 1 dog law violation, and 2 ordinance violations. In East Rockhill, the crimes are as follows: assault, burglary, non-residence, no force, 2 fraud cases, a criminal mischief case, 2 harassment cases, 2 possession of marijuana cases, 3 DUIs, 3 disorderly conducts, 2 trespass cases, 1 unauthorized use of an auto, and 3 dog law violations. The charges filed in January are as follows: 1 simple assault with terroristic threats, 1 hit and run, 1 possession of methamphetamines, 5 DUI cases, 3 drug possession cases, 1 possession of narcotics, 1 possession of a small amount of marijuana, and 1 disorderly conduct. And then officers conducted 210 traffic enforcement details, 9 on Old Bethel and Pike, issuing 15 verbal traffic warnings, 61 citations, and 58 written warnings. And officers conducted 251 business checks, and we attended a meeting at Pennridge High School with the superintendent in January. Just like the board to also know, and the public, you know, with the situation that happened at the school in Parkland, Florida, you might be thinking of how does that affect our region? You know, is there copycat calls like that we investigate? You know, what's the course of action? When a case like that happens, you know, unfortunately, you know, in our country, I'm immediately on the phone with Gina DeBona, who's the high school principal, and we're, you know, putting a game plan in play for the next school day. You know, that occurred kind of at the end of the school day. So that night, her and I are talking, and we, you know, are setting a game plan up, like what are we going to do for the next school day? How many officers are we going to assign to the school? What's going to be our patrol function? And then we tie Dr. Radigan into that, so she's aware of that. And then we also increase our presence with our schools. So, you know, when something like that happens, you know, it's not like, ooh, thank goodness it didn't happen here. It's one of these things where we, you know, are actively, you know, patrolling and we're proactive about our approach to that. You know, as the school knows that a sad time like this that occurs, it's a good time for them to review their policies. It's a good time for us to review our policies as far as, you know, what happens, you know, if we have that type of incident at Pennridge High School. Just remember, in our Pennridge Regional Police area, East and West Rockhill, there's 7 schools. You know, there's the Pennridge High School, North Middle School, Upper Bucks Christian School, Faith Christian Academy, and then the elementary schools, Bivler, West Rockhill, and Sellersville. So there's a lot of schools and a lot of patrol function that needs to take place with something like that. You know, the next day, our tactical team officer who's assigned to the Bucks County SWAT team was already looking at, you know, the policies that the school has in place as far as, you know, where's these rallying points and things like that. So, you know, that's a time that we then look at our policies and do an in-depth, like, look, like, okay, are we following our policies? does something need to change? What do we need to do to be on our A game? And the school's very proactive with that. So I can't say enough about Pennridge High School and that. As is the private schools up there, Big Christian Academy. So just want to let everybody aware of that, in case that was, you were thinking that.
Thank you. Anybody have anything for Chief Blake?
No, Chief, I appreciate your explanation for the process there. And keep up the good work. Stay proactive always.
Yeah, you gotta stay proactive. Like the 2 law enforcement officers died within 12 hours today. One in Mobile, Alabama this morning, and then another one later on this afternoon in Maryland. So, we're there to protect public safety. We don't want to become a target. But unfortunately, sometimes that's the way that is.
All right, thank you. Don made a motion to,
Okay, I'll second that
all
motion.
right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Chief.
Please.
Joint Rec Commission, we held our meeting we hold our meetings now the first Thursday of the month. Went through a lot of things, but some of the highlights, we have a new membership committee, by the way, and they're doing a super job. They have come up with a new membership this year for a junior membership. We found out through the membership committee that a lot of people bring other people's kids every day, and these parents don't always want to put out the money, so these people that are bringing them actually end up paying for it. So we came up with an annual junior membership for 16 and under, is that what it was? And but the person must be accompanied but with an adult. So if there's only one child in a family and the parents don't want to join, this allows that child to come to the pool all summer, as long as they're with an adult. So that's one of the things. We also have a reduced membership until June 1st. So if anybody, just wait until the last minute to buy their membership to the pool at June 1st this year. Otherwise, you pay a full price. Everything else is moving along very well. We've already started cleaning it up for the summer, and we've got people lined up to come in and work. So, anyone have any questions? That's about it then.
I just want to ask, are you taking advantage of the people that have to do community service?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Suzanne was going to have them Thursday, but they couldn't make it, and she asked me if I could watch them Saturday, and I can't make it.
All
So-
right, well.
But we do.
You're taking advantage?
Yeah, Suzanne's already in contact with them.
Okay,
So,
good.
yeah, so that's all good, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Okay, and second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Tax collector's report, Mrs. Clark.
Okay, for 2017 interims that I just collected for this month, it's only $100.92. However, county and township annual tax bills will be in mailboxes for March the 1st. Our county millage did increase this for 2018. Our millage increase went from 23.2 mils to 24.45 mils. So we had an approximately 5.1% increase for our county taxes. So our tax bills will go up a little bit, but they will be in the mail for March the 1st.
All right, thank you.
That's it.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Suzanne's report.
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye, thank you. Engineers report, aside from what was in the consent agenda, do you have anything else, Steve?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. We've already approved that then. Solicitor's report?
I have no report,
All
thank you.
right, thank you. Township managers report, Mr. Lippincott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing is the treasurer's report of January 2018. The general fund has $364,269.50. Highway aid, $81,020.17. Open space, $911,216.92. Park fund, $15,971.32. The equipment fund, $103.35. Highway capital, $124.81, and the street light, $30,884.80. The reserve funds, the general fund reserve is $322,747.75. Open space Manderfield is $50,599. Sewage maintenance, $167,972.51. The stormwater fund is $5,584.62, and the escrow funds are $555,750.19. You also have a copy of the list.
Okay, thank you.
Move for approval of the treasury report and approval of payment bills as presented.
Second? I'll second that. Yeah,
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the township received an email, a request to line stripe 1,000 Acre Road. In lieu of being a confirmed appointment, they sent in an email so that the board would consider that.
I think we have more roads that need to be done than 1,000 Acre, and I understand that 1,000 Acre can be dangerous at foggy times and things like that, but I think we need to take a look at all the roads that were paved last year and decide which of them are capable, and then put together a plan. If we could have Steve and Greg work on a plan for the roads from last year, and then as we do roads this year and future roads, that price should be built into those roads that are acceptable for
Yes.
striping.
I would agree. I think that they should come back to the board with the plan, an idea, and what we're gonna do moving forward.
You should do a traffic study.
Yes,
Yeah.
that means everything,
Heavy roads.
Right, yeah.
as far as how much traffic's on the road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's money.
Oh,
You have to factor that in.
we have to factor all that in.
What we can do on a yearly basis. So I don't think we'll be in a position to do them all at one time.
No, we want it. But I think what we need is to have Steve and Greg come back with a plan, maybe
But
next
it's an
month
even
if they
game.
can. Just, how should we move forward with this? Because we can't just do these one-off. They should be part of the process when you're doing a tar and chip or.
Would you be able to give us an idea too of what it would cost for the roads that you would identify?
Yes.
Okay. And then also, does a traffic study cost money? How much does it cost?
Well, we can do some historical traffic counts.
Okay.
And I don't think we're going to need current ones, but we can go off some.
Yeah, we already know, I think, somewhere
Well, we can utilize
like
it.
Forest Road there, because
Right.
we did that one time with Lonely, or not Lonely, Lawn Avenue. When Wawa was gonna come in there, we did that traffic study with how many cars come through that intersection every day.
I think the regional police have some capability to do some of that.
Okay.
And that's what I was going to say too. We would work with Rockhill.
And he has all the traffic data as far as accidents and everything else.
Okay, so you got direction.
Great. Good, thank you. Okay, anything else?
That's all I have.
All right, I have a motion for.
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. The Stone Arch Bridge resolution, we had some discussion on that last time, and I guess it was up to me to come back and say how I felt about it. I've given this a lot of thought, and I mean, to me, that's one of the most beautiful areas in Bucks County, when you drive up Allentown Road and you see those two bridges and the whole area around them. I am not in favor of changing that, because I think it would be decades before the state would do anything with them anyhow. But taking up what Mr. Kohler said last time, I think we need to do something at those bridges. And I would recommend that we get a traffic study from PennDOT to find out where the traffic's backing up and at what time. And I think, in my simple mind, I think they could come up with a plan to somehow, just as an example, you could put a light there, and then if the light's only active northbound and southbound, depending on when the rush hour is supposed to be, say an hour and a half at night, the northbound is really backed up. It gets backed up all the way to Upper Rockydale. So what if we had 40 seconds in one direction and then only 20 seconds back? It would really alleviate a lot of the problem with the one-in-one car. You get one car going north, one car going south, and you keep doing that, and it's really turning into a mess there, so.
I think we should look also at possibilities at the state road,
Yeah.
the state bridge, that find some way of limiting the fact that trucks are not allowed to cross that bridge. They can always come down Ridge Valley Road, which is a lot better, but it doesn't have that constraint. And they can get on Ridge Road, or they can get on Flat.
That could be part of the study.
That's a big issue, the trucks are there.
Yeah.
Don,
That's been
Don,
changed.
you're not going to make the turn on Ridge Valley Road with a tractor trailer.
Well,
You're not gonna-
if they fix the
You ever
road.
go through that S-turn here, right here by Charlie Thorpe's house?
That's for them to figure out how to do it.
All right.
I'm just saying we should do a study.
Experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you can do your study. I've done a lot of studies over the years.
yeah, I'm sure.
And short of replacing them bridges with a two-lane safe passable bridge, you're gonna have a problem. And you're gonna end up at some point having a real problem when you have people coming in here. So,
But I also don't believe that PennDOT is going to do anything about that for,
you can't do anything until you pave the way so that they can do it. Without removing that restriction, they won't do it. They will do it if you remove that restriction, but it is a planning process.
I suggest you need to check and see how long it takes to get on the list. The state has 60-some thousand bridges they have to replace.
You're correct, you're correct.
And it takes
But
12
you're-
years, usually takes 12 years to do
You're
all the list.
avoiding the point. The point is you have to remove the resolution before you can start that process. Now, if it takes 16 years, you said, or whatever?
I'm saying a
12
couple
years to get
decades.
on the list.
Well, unless you remove that resolution, it'll take you 12 years from whenever that resolution does get removed. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, if you're gonna remove it, I mean,
Well, that's the
You find
point.
out what the
There's
public wants to do.
there's two supervisors that don't want to remove it. So I think the public gets the message.
I think, like I said, but I do want to get a study, and maybe we'll see what PennDOT comes back with, and go from there.
Go ahead.
I don't like the idea of having cars sitting there, all the exhaust coming out. It's not good for the people that live on that road, so I agree that something needs to be done with that. So that's my opinion. Do we need to, do we need to
Yeah,
take?
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Can we have public comment? at this
Yes.
point? Yeah, I guess I stood up last month. Here's my point. I watched those two bridges get rebuilt, and they took them down to nothing but the arch. So those bridges are basically concrete, reinforced concrete bridges with a stone veneer. And I like them. I really think the stone veneer looks great on them. But I don't see any reason why you could not have that same look on a bridge that's 2-lane wide. And my point is, you know, we're not gonna turn back the clock and have no traffic in this township unless we close every bridge. So if we're gonna look forward, then I agree with Jay. I think we should remove the restriction, and we also know that they're not gonna do anything about those bridges for how many years because they just built them. But we gotta remove the restriction now, so in the future, when it's time to put that bridge up, then they can widen it and still keep the look of a stone bridge. I've seen the one further up in Allentown Road where they replace a concrete bridge with just a generic concrete bridge.
Cable stand, that's.
It doesn't look very nice, but it's
Right.
efficient. But we could still have the stone bridge because this one is a veneer of stone over concrete, so there's no difference. So my point is, why not remove that restriction and ask for a replacement stone bridge when we get around to it in the next 12 years or whatever? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so will you move forward with a study, or requesting PennDOT to,
That's okay with the board.
can I get a
Would it be
motion?
appropriate to also send an inquiry or request out to the residents for that area with their views on it?
Why would you do that?
Well, we have the residents of the township. And if they have Michael's doing, we'll know that. If they have other people's doing, we'll know that. Then it won't be, well, it's just one thing. Let's look at all the facts.
We have, for about 12 years, we've looked at all the facts. I've had meetings with Paul Clymer, Senator McElhaney, Chief Metton. Countless of hours have been put into this situation out there to try and improve safety and to save lives when the time comes. And we can't move forward until we remove that resolution. Now, if you want to keep the resolution, I understand that. But I'm just trying to make a point that this is the 21st century we're moving into here. And Allentown Road is a state road, and you're not going to change that. If you look at Salford Township, and you look at Milford Township, they both have 2-lane passable bridges, and they are north and south of our township. So I think you should consider that.
Okay, at this point, I would like to get a traffic study though, and see what PennDOT has to say.
Okay.
Yes.
Frank Shimondura, 1030 Allentown Road. One of the bad examples of that road was today, the turnpike was closed northbound. 309 had traffic on it. It was backed up from 663 to Tollgate Road. Allentown Road, I don't know how far it was backed up, but at one point I saw about 6 tractor trailers in a row. And I think the other thing that happens, when something happens on that turnpike, you gotta have police support that tells these cars where to go, because they're going by that Google MapQuest, and that's putting them on the road. And as far as the bridges go, you know, I live on there, I got no problems with them. I'm on that bridge at about 4:30 to 4:45 every day, and as long as it's cars, one by one, you're going to have about maybe anywhere from 7 to 10 cars heading north and 4 cars heading south. As long as you get cooperative drivers, it's a one-on-one situation. But every once in a while, you run through the a-hole who has got to jump on, you know, the front of the first guy going through. But there's not really, you know, that big of a backup. And this goes back years ago. I could tell you, I used to wait, and I've said this before, with my grandson for the bus, getting off the school bus, and there would be 100 cars that would pass my house in a 15-minute period. 75 going one way and 25 going the other way. And you know, these studies, you know, PennDOT's not going to do anything, and like Don and everybody's saying, it's going to take 13 years for them to do everything. I like the idea, the possible blinking traffic light or a red light, you know, to activate it, that it goes one way or the other, if that can be done. But if we can get those trucks off of Allentown Road, and I believe before that bridge was fixed, the one up at Butter Creek, there used to be signs at the church at Finland Road or Ridge Valley Road, whatever you want to say, that had a weight limit. And those signs went away, they've never come back, and the American Trucking Association's looking to allow 55-foot tractor trailers from 53 and making them wider. It's bad enough now, you know, going through, and this is even with the plows, the guys that are running plows up there, that plow is almost wider than the side of the road that they're on, and you almost got to stop to let the PennDOT plow or whoever's running the plow. You know, that road's, I don't know, what, 200 years old, 300 years old?
Okay. Yes, Mr. Linden.
Robert Linden, Reagan Drive. Will you tell me what is the reason that you would not remove that resolution? Is that politics? Is it somebody gets a vote because they don't remove the resolution? If somebody dies because you don't remove the resolution, it points at you.
They'll be coming here.
Right.
How can that be politics?
It must be politics. What's wrong with removing a resolution that doesn't do anything?
It does do something.
What does it do?
It gives us a historic perspective to the area.
I still think you need to talk.
Put a sign up if you need a historic perspective.
See what they want to do.
It is not politics.
It's politics. It's
I
politics.
have no idea.
You getting paid to not vote for that, against that? Are you?
Ooh, well, that's. you're
What's the
making an
deal?
allegation
What's
about
the problem? If it's
You
a
may
resolution
disagree
that
with
doesn't
somebody,
do,
But that doesn't mean that you have the right to come to a public meeting and accuse them of doing something illegal.
well, I just wonder, what's the deal with a resolution that doesn't achieve anything?
You
Well, Bob, that
disagree.
could actually happen. What we basically say is we gotta do more study. And I think that's the message you're delivering.
I apologize if I insult you that way, but I look at that as a taxpayer, and here's a resolution saying, I don't want to make the bridge wider, and there's a problem with the traffic.
Mr. Linden, I want to tell you, and I'm going to say this just for the last time, and I'm going to be done with this issue. About 6 years ago, I sat in Senator McElhaney's office, and he was sitting next to me. Greg. And Senator McElhaney at that time told me that he could get us a two-lane safe pass bridge in our township there, if it wouldn't be for the resolution that was put in place by a previous board. Now, all the talk that I've heard about 12 years, that wasn't told to me in that meeting there that day that we had that meeting. When I talked to the supervisor in Milford Township, they got that bridge up there and like that, because they saw the need to have a safe passable bridge. Now, that was an old arch bridge too. If you remember Campbell's Dam, that arch bridge was there for 150 years. But they changed it to a two-lane safe passable bridge because they realized they had an issue. Steep hill coming down and a hill coming this way. So they had to open it up to make it so it was safe. They had some opposition to get it, to do away with that old historic arch bridge. But they realized also that it was a state PennDOT road and they wanted to make it safe where it was passable. And that is what my concern is here with these bridges. And I'm not saying you do them both at the same time. And you can, like Mr. Schrameyer identified, you can make them look like a stone bridge. You can put a veneer on the outside. But you will not stop trucks from going down that road as long as it is a PennDOT road where the people pay taxes and they pay registration fees. For a tractor, it's $1,600 to $1,800 a year. That is a lot more than your $36 or $40 for your car. They have a right to be on that road.
This is the same crap as Tinicum Township. Can't
Anyway.
build a bridge.
That's all I'm gonna say on the issue. We go where we go. This is democracy. 2 votes out, rule 1.
Piece of history, that bridge would not be built, because unless they did what they did to that bridge, they would not put a new bridge in. And they came to us and said, if you want to get it rebuilt so traffic can travel on that, and you may not remember that occasion, then you got to rebuild it the way it is. Besides, if you want a new bridge, you got to get on the list. And it takes you 12 years to get on the list where they start working on the bridges. So, you know, I can't help McElhaney didn't mention that. Maybe he didn't know it. But that's what they told the board when.
Don, the people that live in that area.
It wouldn't be there at all, Jay, if we hadn't done that.
You could have put a new 2-lane safe passable bridge there in the amount of time it was closed to do what they did down there. It was closed for a year, or close to a year. Nevertheless, let's move on. Oh, you got,
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Anthony Bogner, Clymer Avenue, I just want you just to consider, you know, with a fire truck or an ambulance, because when it's backed up, and God forbid there's a house fire or something, you can't have either one of those vehicles go into oncoming traffic. There's nowhere to pull over. There's nowhere to do anything. Whereas if it was 2 lanes, they're behind you, at least people can keep on moving and pull off to where you can, a side street or whatever. But you can't, if it's backed up, you can't even see coming down that hill into that bend. And, you know, the state is responsible to have safe roads and passable roads. And you get a fire or something like that, they're not gonna get to you.
It's a message. Nobody here said yes or no. Jay has a
you said no.
preference.
You said no.
I said I want a traffic study. I want to get this traffic study to find out if there's other options we can do in the short term.
I heard it as that.
I said I like it the way it is. I did say that.
Yes, and I think Don said kind of the same thing.
But let's do a traffic study. I want to find out if there are other options we can do in the short term, shorter term, than 20 years from now, and try and take care of the congestion there. All right? We could go through this again later. It just, I don't see doing it tonight. I don't see why that's going to make a big
No,
difference.
but the traffic's only going to get worse. It's only, there's more tractor trailers on the road all the time. I mean, it seems to be what everyone's gripe is the trucks. But, you know, when you're stuck on the turnpike and you have to get off, you know, the guy's probably from Oklahoma. He has no idea how to go. He's just trying to, you know, plug in something with a GPS, and it's a state road, and there's no weight limit on it. And I mean, you try to go down it, you know? I mean, you can't blame the guy driving the truck. I mean, how would you feel? You're trying to get to Philadelphia.
I'm not blaming the guy in the truck.
No, I know, I'm just saying, I mean, you know, it is what it is, but, you know, and the arch bridge, I mean, you know, if you have a car carrier that drags the top of it, it's like, I get the idea the bridge is beautiful, but, you know, we gotta move up with the times, that's all.
Bob Hurlinger, 410 Thousand Acre Road. I'm kind of neutral in the whole situation, but, and I'm kind of looking at it both ways myself, but as of right now, you talk about, and I don't live there, so I don't know exactly as much traffic that goes through that area. I know it's quite congested. But if there's 100 cars that go up and down that way every day, they know that road, they know the bridges are there, it's not new to them. So I think that traffic pattern is pretty much established because everybody that does travel that knows that the two one-lane bridges. So you either accept it or you find another route. And same thing and I'm not saying about emergency vehicles, they gotta know that they gotta be congested, so I would think that they would divert to a different way around that. If you open that up to a two-lane highway or two-lane bridge, would that promote more truck traffic? Because now they know that's a one-lane bridge, and I'm thinking that they would go around it and find another route. If we make them two-lane bridges, is that promoting more truck traffic? And you look at the S-bends on Allentown Road, getting two tractor trailers going either direction, those dips up and down, that's a hazard in itself right there, bringing two tractor trailers up and down that road. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I'm sure it does, but just something else that I'm thinking about, that if it's, and that's a public knowledge, and at that point in time, you will know that it's a higher weight restriction or weight limit to those bridges, and more trucks will be going over that. So I would think that by doing that, you're going to increase truck traffic and traffic in general, going back and forth, not just what we have now to the people that go up and down there when they go up and down it. I do like the idea of somehow trying to control traffic going a couple at a time instead of one at a time. I think that would make it go faster, but that's just my opinion. Just something to think about.
All right, yes.
Public comment, change the subject if I may. Paul Reisner, 1402 Lawn Avenue. I just want to say it was refreshing to get a report from the Conservation Committee. We've been waiting for that, and it was very nice. He did an excellent job. My question on this subject is, I've looked all through the financials last year and this year, and I cannot...
We're not to public comment yet.
Oh, the first guy that started off said he asked if it was
These were
public.
all comments about the bridge. That was one of the items on here. We'll get to you in a minute.
We'll get you later.
Yeah, we'll get to you in a minute.
I don't think anybody, I mean, Jay has a preference to have it replaced. Maybe we all will, once we find out, have facts that we can demonstrate to people why we're doing what we're doing. And so I think that's what we said tonight. We're gonna table it, and Greg's gonna start getting facts together and do studies and so forth, and then we can make a decision. I don't think we should be shooting from the hip. Let's look at the facts. And if that's what it says it should be, then that's the way we should go. Right now, it's pretty much rhetoric.
Okay. Any other old business?
Yeah, I have one thing.
Yeah.
I'll give it, if it matters at all, I'll give a brief report on PennDOT update on roads. Many of you know and probably drive Cat Hill Road. We've had numerous complaints, and I have tried to reach out numerous times to find out some information. Finally, yesterday, I did get a hold of the gal up at Craig Statz's office, Representative Stats. And they were not aware of any issues on Cat Hill Road, which I asked her to have Representative Stats call me, and I did explain the issues that I know about, and from our police department having calls as well, and some serious issues. I guess the section through the woods there towards Bears that I identified and did a ride around with Representative Stats a year and a half ago. So I did not get a call back from him yet, but I'm working on that. And as far as the Allentown Road, Ridge Valley Road, and Finland Road that were not plowed, this lady explained to me that she did talk to PennDOT about that, and they have a policy in place that they do the state roads first. They start at 3 inches, and then they do that section last. Now, we know that that's not true. We know that each driver up there has a route, and the guy that had that route did not work that, he called out, and they didn't replace him for that particular route. That's what happened there, and our police officers know that. So they apologize, but they are trying their best to keep up with the snow with the amount of help they have. That's the update on the state roads that we have. Cat Hill Road is the last state road that we have that is in very bad shape. I think for the most part, Allentown Road is holding its own. Ridge Valley Road is decent, been repaved, and Ridge Road here is, I believe everybody can agree, is really nice. So when I hear back from Representative Stats, I will report next month on what the outcome has been. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, new business?
I have some little business. I have a little business.
Oh, okay.
I have a document here that I put together, and I'm going to provide it to the secretary to include as part of the minutes of this meeting. These comments are category of old business and on meeting agenda. During the board meeting in January 2018, there was considerable discussion between the two other board members with a resident concerning a meeting and a report from HK, operator of the Batesville Quarry, related to the activity, current and future of the stone quarry, formerly operated by M&M Organization Carpenters. This meeting in late March, early April was a result of discussions the board of supervisors had following a public meeting when we were discussing what Univest was doing relative to installing fences and so forth around that property to secure it. There was no request for a study by anybody. We asked them how might a reclamation occur, and they estimated time to conclude. They said they would think about it and get back to the township. There was no mention of a study reported to me or most likely the other attendees, which were Steve Ballou and Greg Lippincott. Following the meeting, several weeks went by, and township manager followed up and learned they had not prepared a response. This occurred again, and the manager told this information in his weekly reports, which he's provided to the board of supervisors each Friday of the week throughout the year. And those exist in place, so there's no rational justification to make a statement that they didn't know about it, unless they don't read his weekly emails. So this activity was known by all board members in terms of the meeting, and the meeting was held. They did what they did. Nobody asked them for a study. Nobody said that. They didn't even say they were going to do something. They said, we'll think about it and get back to you. That was the extent of it. So I want that clarified that everybody knew about this discussion. It was held with H&K.
No, you're wrong, Don. Nobody, we were informed about it after the fact, not before it happened.
No.
That's a fact.
Well, show me the fact that.
Okay, any other old business? New business.
I have none.
Don, do you have any new business?
No.
Okay. I had one thing which I forgot to talk about in the pool in the Joint Rec Authority. The 50-year contract we had between West Rockhill and Sellersville is running out
Oh, yeah?
in February of 2019. So we need to come up with a new contract for another 50 years. So I would like to authorize Mary to work with the solicitor from Sellersville to put a new contract together.
Okay.
The Holiday House Joint Recreational Authority is going to be 50 years old next year, is that right?
2020, yeah.
So the life of a municipal authority in Pennsylvania is 50 years, so the
Okay.
authority itself would expire?
Yeah.
So are we looking to renew the authority, or are there going to be different terms and conditions, or are we going to continue on in the same, under the same terms and conditions?
From what?
Those are things to think about.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, I can't answer that tonight.
I'll reach out to Randy White from
Okay.
Sellersville Borough And in the meantime, maybe you guys can think if there's anything different.
Want to change?
Right.
Is that, I have a question for you, Mary, legally. Is that for the board to decide here, or is that for the joint rec authority to decide whether they want to read
It
it?
is for the board to decide.
This board?
Right.
Because we fund.
Well, it's not this
And-
board, it's you and Sellersville Borough Council,
Correct.
because you jointly created the authority.
Okay. All right.
You brought it into this world, you can take it out.
Okay. And you said the expiration date was,
I
right?
believe it's February 2019, so it's a year from now. Yeah.
All right.
So could I get a motion to have Mary start looking into that?
I'll move.
Yep. I'll second it.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
We have a question. Who has the responsibility for that joint rec authority?
Well, there's a lot of responsibilities, a big word. So you formed the authority, so you have to your job under the Municipal Authorities Act is to appoint members to the board every year, and then they conduct their business as an individual corporate entity. You can't direct the individual, like, what they do every month at their meetings, or how they handle their affairs. You do fund them, so that gives you a little bit of control, because you have purse strings control. But if you're asking from a legal standpoint, which is what you're asking me, you appoint the members and then you leave them alone. However, when you're the people that formed them, so when it comes time to either extend their existence or not, that would also be within your authority, your small.
Where's that in the law?
In the Municipalities Authorities Act.
I mean, I couldn't find it, so maybe you can lead me to that.
About
Because I'm
the,
wondering, God forbid, something terrible would happen to that facility. Who has the responsibility to rebuild it or clean it up or do whatever it is? But is that, where does it say that West Rockhill and Somersville are responsible for?
I don't think I said that.
Beg pardon?
Well, ultimately, the responsibility for an authority falls back on the forming municipalities, but while they're in action and assuming sufficient funding, they're responsible for their own issues. What I'll do is I'll send all three of you a copy of there's a local government commission publication that I think one half of it is actually the act itself, and then the other half is explaining, it in more layman's terms, so it's a little bit easier to read. And I think that's a pretty good source if you want to educate yourself and understand the relationship between the authority and the forming local government.
So we ultimately have financial responsibility for the two parties. So we are,
Yes.
each of us are involved.
Yeah, it's a lot more complicated an answer than yes or no, but yes, it all depends. If you're talking about a sewer authority that has a great payer base and is getting a lot of money in, and they have a lot of money in the bank, then their money goes first to make sure that their debts and obligations are paid. But at the end of the day, no authority can go out of business without the local government taking a responsibility, or another municipal authority. There's a lot of ways it can happen, but I think you want a really direct answer to your question, and the direct answer is yes.
What happens if there's some, again, hopefully unfortunate, what wouldn't happen, if there's some legal action taken against the joint rec authority?
Well,
whatever
they
reason?
better have insurance against legal action. So the kind of things that you're thinking about, if somebody slips and falls and they get a big judgment or something
Yeah,
like that,
whatever.
that would be some serious mismanagement if there wasn't insurance to cover that. So those kind of things wouldn't fall back on the municipality because the authority should be properly insured. However, if everybody just kind of flakes off and goes away and the pool falls into disrepair and something has to be done about it, then, and there is no authority board or no money in the authority accounts, then at that point, then you would be, that when it's not an insurance kind of issue, then you go back to looking at the local governments that form it.
And it's understood with our other partners as well.
It's the law, it's not a contract that we have with Sellersville, it's the law.
Okay. If you send it.
I will send it,
Thank you.
I'll dig it up now.
Public comment? Yes.
Yeah, just getting back to this conservation thing.
Yeah.
Last year, going over all the numbers for the township, the one thing I could not find, and since it's such a big chunk of the township now to have this open space, there's no financial doings of income from these open spaces and the expenses for them. I mean, I've looked through the paperwork and I can't find it. I mean, you got a guy growing corn across the street from me, and you've got renting houses, and then the township men are cutting trees, you know, for tree falls. I mean, that's money that's spent, and then you also have income coming in. Where does that show up when the township?
General fund. That shows up in the general fund. What the open space fund is used for right now is the purchasing of land and purchasing conservation.
And it can
Well, I
also be
understand.
used for maintenance.
It can be used for maintenance, but that was a ballot question.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I personally prefer not to do that. Use open space money to maintain preserved properties.
But if you would ever do that, you would not, you would be within
You
your
would be
legal
within your
rights.
legal right, yes.
Right, but we have a whole list of what's preserved. I mean, is there any way an accounting could be done to each
Well,
preserve?
there's an accounting of it.
You know.
It's all in the details. If you want to come in and take a
Oh,
look
so
at
you
it.
do have it then? I
Just
can-
fill out a right to know request and we'll get you the information.
All right, good, that's what I wanted to know, thank you.
Good, thank you. Any other public comments? All right, your motion to adjourn?
You got it. I'll second.
All in favor? All right, thank you.